Well, guys, we have initiated the program for guidance in public administration optional subject. So today's topic is public interest in public administration. What is the role of public interest in public administration? So first, let's see why there is a relevance of public interest in public administration. Right. What is actually public interest? Public interest is the route that covers from service provider to consumer. Means the service which comes from the origin of service provider to the destination of consumer. On the verge of this route, the guidelines which needs to be followed for the well-being of the consumer without being influenced by any kind of selfishness, personal interest, or any kind of unnecessary socio-political interest, that is called public interest. Public interest is that interest which combines the service provider to the consumer in a very well-mannered and in a very balanced and targeted way. That is called public interest. Public interest is thus related with economy, efficiency, and a most important thing is that morality. In a moral way, means service provider must have to take such measures so that services reach to the consumers following the path of economy, efficiency, and above all morality. Right? So why this topic is relevant and why we need a public interest in public administration? There are various factors. I am not going to explain each and everything. You can just, I have just mentioned the points. Coming to the points, you can explain yourself. Yeah, you can prepare your own notes yourself. So the first important point is that a complex globalized world. Today's world is globalized. Everything is very much complex. And one thing here, most important thing is the common people. And when we say common people, there are various factors come. There might be illiteracy, there might be unawareness. And so, how to remove these barriers? How to remove these kind of barriers and how to target the common people? What is the role of public interest in targeting the common people, removing such kind of barriers in today's complex globalized world? And when I say complex globalized world, it is a combination of various elements like net illiteracy or literacy, you can say, because digitalization is going on, and in such a scenario, some people might not be so much expert or efficient in terms of net literacy and digitalization, complex socio-political scenario, complex law, unawareness. All these results might cause some inefficient public service delivery. Right. And when we say public service delivery, here the what kind of rules will guide the administrator so that these services reach to the consumers, right? So at this point, the role or the origin of public interest comes. Means when the service provider will try to provide the services to the consumer in a well efficient way, what kind of moral guidelines they will follow, right? This is called public interest. So another important element is that corruption, right? Lack of sensitivity, power elite, political pressure. So complex globalized world, corruption, lack of sensitivity, power elite, power pressure. These are some factors which comes as barriers on the route of providing services to the consumer. So eliminating these barriers, how public services could be provided to the consumers, provided to the people without being tilted by any kind of unnecessary influence, that is public interest. That means public interest is a kind of general framework to guide public administrators on the interest of public. And keep it in mind that when you write in the first paper of public administration, you can try to quote some important quotations, right? These are value addition to your answer. For here, Herbert Simon says that social and psychological factors greatly influence decision making. Right, social and psychological. Here I have mentioned it that complex socio-political scenario. It is your duty. Then how social and psychological factors influence the decision-making process of the administrators and how public interest can help here. So, in this concern or in this sense, the considerable thing is that how to frame guidelines for the public administrations to follow public interest. What will be the motto which the administrators will always keep in front of their eyes while providing services to the consumers? In this case, there are various philosophies of public interest which needs to be taken into consideration. Among them, the first one is intuitionist, and as per this philosophy, an administrator has to listen to the intuition while choosing a particular kind of alternative. That means why if any concern arises of it or if there is a various alternatives or in case of decision making while providing service, an administrator has to listen to his own intuition and he will work accordingly. What are the disadvantages of this theory? While writing answers in public administration, always keep in mind that you have, especially in first paper, when you mention any theory, you have to always show the advantages and disadvantages of this theory. Advantages you will recover yourself. What is the disadvantage of this theory is that it has not implied objectivity. It has applied subjectivity, and suffice it is to say that subjectivity is not a very much acceptable criterion for decision making in administration, because here your own decision, emotions, some socio-political factors are intermingled, and that will blur the very much decision making process, that is objectivity. For example, regarding NREGA, if while distributing the houses or while distributing the benefits of this government scheme, if an administrator listen to his own intuition, then there will be very much problems in this case. And what will be those problems? You think and recover yourself. Another theory is that perfectionist. According to the perfectionist philosophy, while distributing the resources, the best members of society get benefits. And you already know it is not an acceptable theory at the present time because it is anti-democratic and against equality. Another theory is that utilitarianism. We all know who has given this utilitarian theory. According to this policy, public policy makes someone better, though someone might not be better. That means while distributing the resources, it might elevate the position of some persons or some sections of society, even though it slightly make worse for other sections of society. That means while distributing the resources, it is necessary to favor much more to the disadvantaged group of society. And while doing this, while favoring much more disadvantaged group of society, it will elevate or it will uplift the condition of those group, while sometimes it happens that it makes a little bit worse for other groups of society. It gives importance net balance of social satisfaction. It is also not somehow unacceptable or totally acceptable because it gives importance on some sections of society while showing negligence to the other sections of society. And regarding public interest, how to frame guidelines which follows public interest in public administration. In this sense, the most acceptable guideline is generally the theory of justice propounded by John Rawls. So what has John Rawls say regarding the theory of justice? How it has marked the public interest in public administration. Let's observe it. So there are two aspects of his theory of justice. One aspect is that each person will bear right to his most extensive basic liberty compatible with a similar liberty for others. That means what? Each person will bear rights to his most extensive basic liberty. That means each and every person will enjoy the rights which are very much necessary or which are very much fundamental right? Which are very much basic, compatible with a similar liberty for others. That means if a person is enjoying a particular kind of right which is fundamental, then that right will be enjoyed by others also. That means if a person is enjoying a right, then another person is has the same right to enjoy that right. If another person is enjoying the right, then this person is also has the same right to enjoy that right. That means each person will bear rights to his most extensive basic liberty. That means each person will enjoy right which is very fundamental, and that right will be enjoyed equally by others. Clear now? There are two persons here. If one person is enjoying a right, and this right is equally compatible to be enjoyed by this person. If this person is enjoying the right, then this right is incompatible to be equally enjoyed by this person. That means each person has the same right to enjoy who is extends to his basic or who is extends to his fundamental liberty, right? In our if you see to our Indian Constitution, here we can mention the fundamental rights. So in perspective of India, we can say that fundamental rights are such principles which comes close to this aspect of theory of justice propounded by John Rawls. Then another aspect is that social and economic equalities need to be facilitated to the advantages of the least advantaged group of society. That means, according to another theory of justice, John Rawls also says that key social and economic equalities have to be provided to the people in such a way that it fulfills the basic needs of the least advantaged group of society. That means it favors those sections of society who are less privileged. That means, according to one aspect of the theory of justice of John Rawls, that the resources has to be distributed in society by the administrators in such a way that it provides the optimality to the least advantaged group of society. Thus, this theory favors also the least advantaged group or the underprivileged group. And one important point is that this theory of justice is close to the economic concept Pareto optimality. I am not going to explain what is Pareto optimality. You yourself will find it. So these are two aspects of his theory of justice. And another aspect is that the rights are attached to position and offices open to all under equal opportunity. Rights are attached to position and offices open to all under equal opportunity. That means what? What does this say? What are the interpretations that can be gained from this aspect is that each person is equal to each person will enjoy the right regardless of his class, office or position. Whatever position, whatever office he is acquired, the all persons will enjoy the equal right regardless of his office, regardless of his position, regardless of his class. That means rights are attached to position and offices open to all. If you are president, you will enjoy the same right. If you are if you are a common person, you will enjoy the same right. Means regardless of the offices and your position, you will enjoy the same right if you are a president or if you are a common person. That does not mean what is your position, what is your office, or what is your status. Rights are equally open to all. And another perspective of this interpretation is that if your right has been breached or if your right has been snatched away, you can approach to the particular office, you can approach to the particular authority for the redressal of your right. This is another perspective. That means you can hear example, the dispute redressal mechanism system, judiciary, right? And in Indian perspective, our fundamental rights, especially Article 32, is a very good example here, right? Which gives us the right to go to directly Supreme Court if any right has been breached. Under equal opportunity. Under equal opportunity means not if apart from the exception. For example, right to work. There might be some exceptions. Exceptions are not applicable here. Acceptable here means you can enjoy the same right given to you under equal opportunity, means apart from the exception. That means if any particular benefit is given to the minority section, you cannot claim to that that right. Means under equal opportunity, whatever you have been given, you can claim that regardless of your office and position, and if that right has been breached, you can approach to the particular authority. So this theory of justice by John Rawls is a combination of egalitarian and non-egalitarian perspective. The first and the third point is egalitarian, and the second point is not egalitarian because it favors mainly the underprivileged group of society. Here it says that social and economic inequalities have to be distributed in such a way so that it favors or so that it makes benefit to the underprivileged, the less privileged group of society. That is why it is not egalitarian. Yes. Then when you write answer in the public administration, only one thing, always keep in mind that you have to refer to the current scenario or you have to refer to the current example. So in such a scenario, in public interest John Rawls theory, what kind of example, current example you can refer to here? I have given an example here. I'm not going to interpret it, but you can quote another example or you can interpret it your own way. For I'm giving here economic reservation, means recent amendment of the constitution where reservation has been given on economic basis. How it can fulfills the how it follows the criteria of public interest, or how it is compatible with the theory of justice provided by John Rawls. Try to interpret it your own way. How it has fulfilled all these three aspects of the given theory of justice, right? And when you write answer in public administration, you can also quote in answer some famous lines given by the thinkers. For example, here Nicholas Henry says that it is that, means this theory of John Rawls is the most workable way for determining public interest. When you are writing the answer, you can refer this quotation of this Nicholas Henry, that this theory of justice given by John Rawls is the workable way for determining public interest. So as a whole, there are three aspects of three main aspects of John Rawls theory of justice. One is everyone bears equal rights similar to others. Everyone bears equal rights regardless of class or caste. Public interest needs to facilitate the least advantaged group. So these are the three aspects of John Rawls theory of justice, and you have to apply this in your answer by the help of current scenario.